Welcome to the Nutrition Mission Podcast.
This is where we're going to share information about nutrition and have insights into your own personal needs, as well as product information, as well as other information. You've got to be part of this nutrition mission.
This is the official Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market podcast. And we've been helping people live better lives since 1972. We're on a nutrition mission. Join us.
Hi, this is Starkie Sowers. Welcome again to another Nutrition Mission episode brought to you by Clark's Nutrition Natural Foods Market. Today's topic is testosterone, the king for the males, right? So when we think of testosterone, obviously we think of males. Don't forget, by the way, ladies have testosterone, just different concentrations, okay? But here's the deal with testosterone with males. Think about this. We always talk about female health issues oftentimes. We talk about PMS, we talk about menopause, we talk about perimenopause, things of that nature. Believe it or not, males have what we call menopause. We start getting older, we start losing our testosterone. We lose our fire, we lose our passion, we lose our energy. Testosterone does so many different things. It activates the cells, and what it does, especially with the muscle tissue, is actually activates what we call anabolic growth patterns. Of course, you've heard of anabolic steroids. And that's why males or individuals that are in sports, male and female oftentimes, believe it or not, even ballet dancers oftentimes will use different versions of anabolic steroids for recovery and repair. And so the bottom line is, I don't like anabolic steroids. In fact, I'm the type of guy that's trying to keep my testosterone levels nice and healthy. I'm 61, I'm still using herbal stuff for a long-term basis, and we're going to talk about some of that. But here's the deal. Testosterone is the thing that gives you drive. It's what gives you energy. Like I said, it gives you passion. And as I said, cruelly, when you start hitting about 30 years old, 40-year-olds especially, and then 50, we start seeing it tapering off. 50, 60, we start seeing sharp declines. And so what happens is those levels decline, actually other hormone levels incline. Specifically, if there's more body fat, believe it or not, estrogen climbs up in the male body. The other thing climbs up is DHT. The body tries to hold on to testosterone, and the way that it does is it converts it into DHT. Well, when it converts it into DHT, that's what causes male pattern baldness, as well as prostate tissue growth, such as benign prostate hyperplasia or prostate enlargement. Okay? So here's the deal. We got to have good testosterone. So one of the things I want to do is lay a foundation for healthy testosterone. The body needs a couple different nutrients to help maintain and build testosterone naturally. One of the components is zinc. Zinc is critical. Zinc is necessary. How much do you need a day? You literally need probably anywhere from 20 to 30 milligrams of zinc a day. So here's the deal. The body loses zinc every time we have what we call seminal emissions. All right, I'll let you figure out the details from there. But you lose like 5 to 10 milligrams of zinc. The other thing that happens under stress, we lose a lot of zinc there. Zinc is necessary for the eyes. It's necessary for digestion. It's necessary for so many different things. And most food sources are pretty deficient in zinc. So let's talk about some cool food sources that are rich in zinc. Pumpkin seeds, actually rich in zinc. Pretty cool. Then we talk about oysters, actually rich in zinc. Let's talk about meat, actually rich in zinc. Those are great components. Here's the deal. Oftentimes we don't eat those substances. So guess what? We have a tendency not to get enough in our diet. So supplementation becomes critical. Obviously, we know about zinc in the immune system. With COVID and all the craziness with that, here's what we know. Zinc is necessary for the taste receptors as well as for the smell receptors. A lot of people, when they got COVID, lost their sense of taste and lost their sense of smell. Zinc deficiency is one of the number one reasons why that happens. We also know that zinc activates the immune system, helps you get over viruses quicker. Lots of cool factors, but when it comes to building testosterone, we got to have zinc. Another thing, we have to have healthy fats. You've heard everyone talk about fish oils, essential fatty acids. You heard the Italians talk about olive oil. Yeah, those oils and those components actually help to build testosterone. Peanut oil and, believe it or not, olive oil together are great things to help kick it up. There used to be this dude in the 60s. He was a weightlifter. They called him Peanuts West. He had a gym that was in Venice Beach. It was in his garage. By the way, if you've ever been to Venice Beach, a garage in Venice Beach, if it's anything more than one car, it's going to be a mansion, right? So this guy's got a gym there, and that's kind of where powerlifting was birthed. And this guy would eat 8 tablespoons of peanut oil a day and like a half a pound of peanut butter just to be able to kick the testosterone up. He became famous for the Peanut Gold's Gym weight gaining diet. They called him Peanuts West because that's what he lived on, was freaking peanut oil and peanut butter. All right? I don't think you want to do that, but ultimately, a couple of things to remember. Nuts and seeds, as well as olive oil, as well as essential fatty acids, are necessary to build good, healthy testosterone. All right? Well, obviously, there's always different types of herbs that are on the market as well, too. So remember that when it comes to these herbs, a lot of these herbs kind of nurture the gland so they can actually produce it, or help the body kind of stay in rhythm of producing hormones. So I thought I'd kind of go through some supplements as well. But before I do that, I got to finish with one last thing. Here's the deal. When you pick up heavy objects, your testosterone levels climb. So if you're not happy with your current state of testosterone, start lifting some weights. Because if you start picking up heavy things, your body's going to produce more testosterone. So don't forget to lift heavy things, all right? By the way, if you got a bad back or you got this, do it smart. Be intelligent in how you lift weights. If you've never lifted weights before, get some instruction. Make sure somebody's helping you out to get you on that quest. All right, let's talk about supplements. By the way, the foundation's not there. The supplements are going to be less effective. So remember, we're going to have to eat healthy fats. We're going to have adequate amounts of zinc. We're also going to have to lift heavy objects in order to keep that testosterone level up. So now let's get into the supplements. All right, what a great name. Okay, so this particular formula is called Epimedium, better known as horny goat weed. All right? It's kind of one of those things that the word says it all. So what does it mean, Epimedium? What does it mean, horny goat weed? Here's the deal. Guy that was a sheep farmer is out there. And so he's out there and basically goes out there and basically he's watching his fold, so to speak. And every time the males would eat this particular substance or this particular plant, they mated more frequently. So then they thought, hey, why don't we start using this on ourselves? And found out, hey, this stuff really works. Horny goat weed, all right? So ultimately, that's the legend. I didn't bring any ginseng with me, but ginseng obviously is in that legendary note as well, too. So ginseng's a little bit different. They call it the man herb. So when you think of the ginseng legend, it's very interesting because basically what happened was there's two brothers and they basically were going to head off, and this is in China. They were going to go hunting. It was like in the fall, and their father said to him, hey, check it out. Be really careful because you're going to go through that pass, and that pass gets snowed in. If you get trapped, you're going to be up in the snow for the whole winter before you can get back. Sure enough, they get snow, early snow comes, they get trapped, and the father figures, well, it's possible that they've died, right? So they come rolling back in the middle of springtime as they got through the pass. Their dad looked at him and said, man, you guys look amazing. What have you guys been eating? They lifted up a bunch of ginseng roots and they said, we've been feasting on these. And he says, oh, those must be man root because they basically have two legs that go down and it looks like a man's lower half. They said man root. Well, check it out. Man root or ginseng is great for boosting testosterone levels. All right, so you can't do this without talking about all different parts of the world, right? So here's one. It comes from Thailand. It's called Tonkat Ali. There's a bunch of research on this stuff. And this Tonkat Ali is another substance that not only increases the body's production of testosterone, it increases free testosterone. What's the difference? Free testosterone is unbound to proteins that carry it around the system. It's like a bus that carries the testosterone around. The older we get, the more these buses try to grab onto the testosterone. When you're young, you have a bunch of free testosterone. You're stupid and do stupid things, and you're crazy and you're wild, and that's part of what it is. You get older, you start mellowing down. Maybe not a bad thing for some of us, all right? So what about also this, Tribulus terrestris? Tribulus terrestris, another compound super famous by the Bulgarian weightlifters in the 90s. We were selling this stuff like crazy. Kind of a fun story. People are coming in and saying, hey, Tribulus is amazing. It helps with libido and things of that nature. Guys were coming in and using it for weightlifting. So the research goes on like this. It goes back and forth. Yeah, Tribulus helps with building testosterone. No, it doesn't. It goes back and forth. So here's what I can tell you is this. As the research was unfolding and we were selling Tribulus like crazy, the men quit buying it. Who bought it was the females were buying it for their husbands and making them take it. I'll let you take it from there, all right? Simple fact is Tribulus does activate the body's hormone systems. The other thing it does too, recent information, actually protects the prostate, prevents it from having cancerous cells being able to grow. Kind of a cool formula. What about wrapping this Tribulus with a bunch of the other things together? We end up with a couple different formulas. As I said, masculinity. You guys can figure that out from there. This one has the epimedium in it, has a horny goat weed with it, also has maca with it, another hormone building herb that's from Peru. For years it's been used down there. It's now, of course, very popular here in the United States. Another fun one is this one, another combination. This one is very interesting. This one it's called Veridex. It's by Gaspari. especially one of the things that happens with too much testosterone is it aromatases. So it aromatases into two things. Remember I told you it aromatases into DHT, which can be the bad stuff, especially as you get older. It wants to aromatase into that because it wants to hold on to it. All right? The other thing it does, eventually testosterone has to become estrogen to clear the body. So what's happened with this formula, not only does it have the herbs to help boost up the testosterone level, it also has herbs in it to clear the estrogen out of the system. Especially if you're trying to stay lean, this stuff is amazing. Now I'm going to tell you what I've been using for 27 years. It's called Muscle Booster. It's by Chin Lee Herbal Regenesis. She's down in Redondo Beach. And ultimately, she came out with this formula years ago. It has cordyceps in it. As you know, cordyceps is good for not only hormone balance, but it also opens up the lungs, help with endurance and stamina. It has epimedium in it, which of course is that horny goat wheat. It has urcomi in it, which is a little bit different Chinese herb that's good not only for hormone balance, it's also great for lower back as well. Then on top of it also has morinda. And it's not morinda leaf, but it has morinda root, another strengthening hormone balancing formula with FOT, which kind of nourishes the blood. Definitely one of my favorites. One of the things I've been using, I feel good with it. I love it. I use it before every workout. What's cool about it, I can use it and go to sleep an hour or 2 hours later. No big deal. All right. So, Emmerich Delsick, old bodybuilder. For years, kind of competing in bodybuilding, things of that nature. And when I say old, he doesn't look old. He looks great. He was one of the guys that brought Tribest to the United States. So he was selling Tribest, and we were selling his Tribest. He came out with a product that's called Humaniford. Kind of an interesting product. So this is actually chicken embryo extract. So what does that mean? So, if you've ever opened up an egg and it started to grow, there's an embryo extract that's in there. And he actually pulls this stuff out. And so he actually starts doing some research with this stuff and ends up having like a bunch of hormone attributes about it. Number one, it seems to balance the body's hormone, but it doesn't really kind of kick the body's hormone system in gear. What it actually does is it goes into the cells that produce the hormone and it kind of nourishes them and actually kind of kicks them on, gets them to turn on effectively. So this is a very unique substance. We've actually been selling it for about 15 years. It's probably the number one selling product we have when it comes to building testosterone up in the body. And people love the results on it. Feels kind of cool, obviously. I've used it off and on for years. It's a great product with good results. The other thing to remember about it, though, it's a kind of a restorative. It restores the body's cells all over. So very cool formula. Very unique and very different. A lot of you guys might be thinking, you know what? I just want something to help with my libido. I want something to help with like strengthening that area of my body. So I brought in a couple of our number one sellers. First of all, this is called Steel Libido. Figure it out from there. There's a bunch of different substances that are in here. That is in there as well. Remember this when it comes to libido. Libido, especially with males, is controlled by the vascular system. So if the vascular system is healthy, your libido is going to be healthy. In fact, it's estimated that 60 to 70% of people that have libido issues is from a bad vascular system. Working out, doing different types of cardio as well as weightlifting is going to strengthen the libido. That's the first primary thing you should be thinking about. It's great to use pills and things of that nature. But the bottom line is, they're going to help with circulation. Obviously, Viagra, that's how it works. It's like using arginine and other different types of compounds. It produces nitric oxide, which increases blood flow into specific areas and ultimately helps with blood flow. Now, we'll talk about the number one selling thing that we have for libido. It's called Encore. Great little story behind Encore. Chin Lee, the lady that makes the muscle booster that I love and take, she said, you should try my Encore. I said, look, Chin Lee, I don't need your Encore. I don't have a need for that. It's just something I just don't have a need for. She said, I'm going to send you 12 capsules. So she sends it to my house, and I throw it up in the cupboard. And I said, I'm not going to use this stuff. I really don't want to use it. I don't desire to use it. So I noticed, I got like a bunch of guys that work out with me, and I noticed that they're talking and kind of passing things around throughout the years and stuff like that. So finally I said to them, I go, what are you guys passing around? And they said, well, Larry, because he's a VA, goes to the VA hospital, he ultimately ends up getting all the free Viagra he wants, and he passes it out to us. I'm like, all right. You know what? I got this stuff. I want you guys to try this stuff, right? So here's the stuff. Grab the stuff. I give it to them the Encore. And they take the Encore. About a month and a half goes by, and they start coming back for their stuff, right? They go, dude, that stuff works better than any Viagra I've ever used in my life. I go, okay. So one of my buddies says, you got to start carrying it. I go, dude, this stuff's like $10 a capsule. It's like $11 a capsule. Yeah, it works for 2 or 3 days, but it's $11 a capsule. So he says, I don't care. My wife says, if I don't have that, then I can't come near her. So I'm like, all right, Game up. I'll put it in. So I buy 6 of them and put the large size bottle, $90 or something like that in. Literally sells out in a couple hours. All right. So then, and he bought, of course, 3 or 4 of them. So then the next thing I know, my son was working at this time. He says, hey, Dad, we need more of that stuff. I'm like, what do you mean the stuff? We got thousands of stuff. No, some of that stuff from Chinley. Okay, great. Call her up, send me 24. That was gone by the end of the weekend. All right. So next thing I know, it's created its own cult. It doesn't need to even be talked about. People love it. But I will throw this out. It's a caveat. There's a bunch of warnings that go with it. There's caffeine and a couple other different things. So read the warnings. If you got high blood pressure or other different things, it's something that you don't want to use. You probably want to stay more towards the steel libido. All right, so hopefully that'll kind of give you a little bit of information. Don't forget, build a foundation on testosterone. You want to work out. You want to eat right. You want to make sure that you're getting zinc in the diet. The other thing that you want to do is essential fatty acids. You want to make sure that those are coming in. Add some olive oil to the diet. Fruits and vegetables, and circulation is paramount when it comes to libido issues. Make sure that your body's in a situation where it's healthy, vascular system, because the rest of everything else will fall in place. All right, thanks again for listening and watching episode here of Nutrition Mission.
Thank you guys for joining us today on our Mission Nutrition podcast, the official Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market podcast. We've got another exciting episode for you next week, so be sure to review, subscribe, follow us, and stay connected.
Absolutely, be part of it. We've got so much we're going to share with you. It's going to be an amazing ride.
We'll see you next time.